Today we're looking at the Fujifilm X20, the latest compact camera from the company. The X20 follows on from the popular X10 model, and although it has the same 12 megapixel resolution, it now adopts the X-Trans CMOS technology, which is featured in Fujifilm's compact system cameras, such as the X Pro 1 and the XE1. The sensor is capable of capturing full HD video, and it also has phase detect pixels in its array to allow focusing speeds to be as quick as 0.06 of a second, according to Fujifilm. There's also a second generation EXR processing engine, which, according to Fujifilm, gives images with 30% less noise than those from the X10. The processor also allows for the camera to shoot at 12 frames per second at full resolution, and there's also a new lens modulation optimizer feature, which is said to reduce the effects of diffraction at smaller apertures. The lens has the same 28 to 112mm focal range, as well as the same f2 to 2.8 aperture as the X10's lens, and it can focus down to 1 centimetre away from the subject in its macro setting. It also has a 4-stop image stabilisation system, which allows it to capture sharper images at slower shutter speeds. The top plate carries everything we would expect on such a model, such as a pop-up flash, a hot shoe, a mode dial, and also an exposure compensation dial right on the side. There's also a threaded shutter release button on the top plate, which allows for traditional shutter release cables to be used with the X20. The body makes use of die-cast magnesium, which gives it a really solid feel, and around the body there's a synthetic leather which improves handling. Some people would have no doubt preferred for the X20 to sport a more substantial grip than the small one that has been provided, but the camera still handles well thanks to the thumb grip on the back, which allows the thumb to rest quite comfortably and securely. Overall, we love the design of the X20. It's only the exposure compensation dial which is a little bit loose. Now, this is fine when you're using the camera itself, but when you're taking it out of and putting it into a bag or a pocket, it does sometimes get knocked out of place, which can be a bit annoying if you don't realise this has happened. The manual zoom lens also serves as the power control, which means that the camera can quite quickly be turned off and on, and you don't need to wait for the zoom to retract as on other models. This makes the camera particularly suitable for more spontaneous captures, particularly as the focusing system is also impressively quick. It's faster at the wide angle end than at the telephoto end, but even in low light against low contrast subject, the system does really well to pick out details and quickly bring subjects to focus. The optical viewfinder's 85% coverage is forgivable, but the lack of parallax markings means that it isn't really suitable when you need to compose something with precision. The digital trans panel, which Fujifilm has included in the X20's viewfinder, is also quite useful, as this displays all key exposure information. When it's dark, this lights up in green as well, and when there's an error of some kind, it lights up in red, so you always know what the camera is doing. It can be a little bit hard to see this information against a particularly busy scene, however, as it doesn't actually lie on a backing of any sort. The camera's 2.8-inch LCD screen is slightly smaller than the 3 inches we're used to seeing at this level, although this is understandable when you consider that Fujifilm has included a viewfinder in the model. The 460,000 dot resolution is slightly lower than the 920,000 dots we're used to seeing at this level, but it is still quite detailed, and in bright sunlight it's still quite easy to see despite a little bit of glare coming from the screen. Images from the camera are, on the whole, pleasing, largely thanks to the camera's sound metering system and appropriate colour, and also very good contrast in JPEGs. There's a little bit of softness at wider apertures in the corners, but once the lens has been stopped down from the widest few apertures, detail is generally high across the frame. Distortion is also pleasingly minimal, although sharpness in JPEGs could be improved a little bit in post-production. Noise is low at the lowest couple of sensitivities, but noise reduction, even at the lowest setting, leads to an unfortunate smearing of details, with finer details being lost quite easily. The camera's resolution, however, is excellent, with lab testing showing it to capture more details than rival cameras at its base sensitivity, and with strong results up to ISO 3200. Past this point, the camera can only capture JPEGs, which show the noise reduction system to be working quite aggressively to minimise any noise. Despite a couple of design issues, such as with the exposure compensation dial and the optical viewfinder, the Fujifilm X20 is an excellent addition to the current pool of enthusiast compacts. It's a really strong competitor to the likes of Panasonic's LX series and Canon's G series, and it's probably the best enthusiast compact you can get with an optical viewfinder right now. Image quality on the whole is excellent, particularly with the camera's ability to resolve details, while the fast focusing system and the solid build quality are also praiseworthy. To see the full review, why not log on to whatdigitalcamera.com.